Hello everyone, Ian Ileana here, musician, LGBTQIA icon, environmentalist, human rights activist, proud owner of Mars Now, the space agency, and Green Future Go, a corporation with the sole purpose of protecting mutants, werewolves, and vampires. I haven't been in front of the camera for a while because I've had a lot of PTSD issues, so I had to take a moment for myself and really heal, really think about what I want. And I don't know. I'm not big on companionship or friends or anything like that. But there's a part of me that says I have to find a community. I really have to find a community. And, I am so gay, that, yeah, I'm just not going to put up with LA. Because LA has all been about shoving women on me and nothing about Jonathan Bailey climbing into my bed at night. None of it. And I just don't understand it. Like, if Jonathan Bailey climbed into my bed, I mean, that would be an overture of trust, confidence, and respect. But clearly, that has not happened yet. And if it hasn't happened, then I just have to say, well, geez, I guess I don't really want to live in Los Angeles. And I guess I'm not going to make a secret of it. I mean, there are no secrets. That's the problem and the solution. I'm just going to fucking move to San Francisco. Not because I want to be near yet a larger epicenter for homeless people to go piss in every street corner. I just think that maybe the gay community is just a little bit more thriving there. So I might have to investigate because look, I'm living a life where it's just me and my comic book serials, which I put on X, which make no sense because I never have the frame of mind to just write it out as a full script. So I just do it in dribs and drabs of different scenes from different movies. And as the captain of the future storyline for Marvel, which is Marvel's going in a direction, and I know that they have many ideas about how to handle that. I need that to be taken care of properly. I'm not saying my way is the only way or the right way. It's my favorite storyline. It's my favorite storyline. It has to be done perfectly. Perfectly. And the only way that can happen is if I finish the script and just hand it to these people. Oh, by the way, hello, Bernie Jr. Rodriguez. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to the revolution. I say the revolution because I don't know. I mean, I'm going to San Francisco as a space engineer and a conservationist. I'm going to start offering things like a gay health plan. Sure, go see your doctor, but there's something missing. There's something missing in gay health, and I think it's the community aspect of it. Sure, you can have one friend that you work out with, but is that all? Is that all that your health requires? Because I don't think so. I think it's a little bit more in depth. I think it's you need to have friends you share your life with and improve your life with. And yes, that does sound very, very socialist, but there's also something to that. There's something to nobody struggles and we all rise. I mean, true, some of us are rich and some of us are poor, but what if we elevate each other? Doesn't that mean that you at least have decent neighbors? And I don't know, I think that's worth something. So that's what I'm gonna offer when I go to San Francisco. I'm not saying I'm gonna stay there forever. I'm gonna try for like a week, and then if I don't like it, I'll just leave again. I guess. Hold on, smoothie break. I have to stay hydrated. Uh, that's an interesting spelling. I'm sorry, I don't mean laugh. I don't mean laugh. I know that's good. Where are you from? I live in Los Angeles, but not for much longer. I don't know. I've tried with Los Angeles, and they've tried too. They've tried so many times to tell me, "Hey, there is a place for you here," and all I can say is, "Yeah, but I've got boundary issues. I've got weird boundary issues where if you're not a female celebrity, I just don't want to talk to you." Like, I have PTSD, so I don't think I can say that enough. And I know that, they're trying to say, well, look, if you practice talking to regular people, it won't be so difficult to speak to a celebrity. And I say, well, I can talk to a celebrity. I've talked to celebrities in the past. You know, some of the exchanges were lovely, some of the exchanges were not, but for the most part, I can talk to another celebrity. I'm not a celebrity. I can't believe I just said that. I am not a celebrity. I make really, really strange, slutty house music. And oh, I do have my cover of Prince coming out probably by Friday, if not Monday. It's a Little Red Corvette. I mean, it's a classic. So if anybody wants to hear my my version of that, that'll be available this Friday or Monday. Let's see. BB. Oh, hello. Okay, so I don't know what your issue is. You can come back tomorrow. Mike. That's a very interesting question. So I will address that. I will address that. Okay. I know that the government shutdown has been on the lips and ears of so many people here. The only problem with that is I live in California. So whatever the fuck they got going on the East Coast, that has nothing to do with California. We never really think about the word sometimes, but here, let's go through it together. United States of America. United States of America. United States. That's what they call it. They call it the United States, the US. They don't call it America. They call it the United States. Why? Because we're like Greece, where you have Athens and Sparta. You have Macedonia. You have little areas here and there, and then you sometimes come together and say, yeah, we're Greek. Well, that's the way that it feels when you live in America and you understand how the government works. We say we're Americans, But really, you're just wherever you live. And it's time we start recognizing that. When I started my program of doing downtown city cleanups, which just did not go well, I have someone who actually bought a ticket to go to as an event. And I don't know, I feel sorry for this person because it's just, I have PTSD, so I'm not going to be able to go to that. So I'm gonna have to tell that person, I know you want to actually do your civic duty, but I will be fleeing the area, so therefore I will not be able to go to that. The more back to the whole thing. Trump is our president, but he doesn't live in California. Now, when they talk about the president, it's the president of the United States. But what does that even mean? Because you're still a state. You still live in a state. So if you live in a state, maybe, just maybe, your world is just what's in front of you. So whatever that government shutdown is, does it really affect you? I'm still getting, hold on, smoothie break. I'm still getting my nom noms, my nom noms. I'm still getting them. So money still works. There's not looting in my area at the very least. So what you got going on the East Coast that has anything to do with me? That's what I thought. When we think about the United States, we think about how they have gone from 13 colonies to 50 states. When they were colonies, that was maybe a little base camp, a few farms, maybe, if you were lucky. But you understood that outside there was wilderness, tribes, and other colonies to contend with. Before the American Revolutionary War, it was the French and Indian War, where England was in a war with France, as they always are. And it was because the American colonists were conscripted to go fight that they woke up and said, hey, we're not really being represented here. Represented. I joined the military. I was sexually abused in the military, so I signed the paperwork of my own free volition. But I'm also beginning to think that I'm not being represented here. I woke up today and I went for a lovely walk, and there was just truck idling. All the fumes that were coming out of that were just blowing into the residential space where I'm living and a lot of other people are living. And this person in the truck, they don't care. They are not held accountable. It's like, dude, you're cutting off the oxygen to an entire building. There are no laws that are really protecting us. And I don't feel as if California, with its Clean Air Day, really grasp what they're trying to heal and atone for. And I say atone because it is a sin. It is a sin to use air pollution, carbon monoxide from car exhaust, to give cancer, give lung cancer, give asthma to poor people because they are poor and they can't afford to move to the top of a mountain or a more secluded area where the air might be a little fresh, just a little bit fresh. I think about moving to San Francisco, and I just say to myself, what am I doing? Am I just going to waste a year there when I don't think they think of it in any different way? This is why I have Mars Now, the space agency, because of the technologies that I could bestow upon the world to wake them up and say, why are we still using cars when we're not those people anymore? You wake up in a society that you're just not built for cars. There was a time for that, but we're not those people. We're people who use cell phones, we're people who use televisions, we use computers. We're not people who need to physically get into any vehicle and go someplace. COVID did many things, but at least it said to people, why don't you make that shift? Why don't you make that shift to stay in and just let the world heal a bit? I'm on holiday. Clearly, I am. I'm enjoying my fancy things, but it's a holiday and it's also a staycation. Because I realize that I live in a city where it is health prohibitive and cost prohibitive to just engage with it in a larger way. Sure, you get your food delivered. But if you actually go to some of these restaurants and you travel, the stress of it is just too much. So I stay in, I make do, and that's the direction that we should be. Hold on, smoothie break. That's the direction we should be going. SpaceX and NASA have, for the longest time, been trying to use the biggest explosion of combustion to locomote themselves off this rock. They have been wrong. They have been wrong for decades. For decades. Back in the 1960s, if someone had just explained to them if you really want to put the American flag on the moon, just send a robot. If you really want to live on Mars, send a robot. If you really want to go to another galaxy, you're not even going to send a robot. You're just going to send pure data, a pure stream of conscious electromagnetic energy. That is it. And for some reason, NASA and SpaceX don't think this way, because to them, the physics of Big Boom is more important than reaching further than that. Reaching further than the moon, further than Mars, further than Europa, further than Titan. Conscious electromagnetic energy. That's all. We exist as that already. If you're watching this stream, you're looking at conscious electromagnetic energy. I have imprinted by voice and visual electromagnetic signature which travels through space. That's technology. That's where we are. That's a technological leap from where we were. But this is what we do every day. But we don't see that as a miracle. We don't see that as extraordinary because it's just so easy to do. But if it's so easy to do, why hasn't NASA or SpaceX embraced it to its fullest? Well, that's what Mars Now is for. And hopefully, in the gay capital, surrounded by fellow gay nerds, I might be able to focus enough to expand upon it, because that is so much more important than constant rockets and constant misery. If you accept that when you stream, you are transmitting maybe not physical matter, but the quantum entanglement of matter being in two different spaces, but not exactly equivalent, because right now this is photo electric energy. So you're looking at photons representing my physical mass, but they are linked. And the positions are in two positions at the same exact time. So we can tweak physics to go further, but we don't think of it that way. We just say, you turn on your camera and there you go. But what we really need to think about is, if you turn on your camera, you can go anywhere. Where's that line of inquisitiveness? I want to go to Australia so badly, but why couldn't I just stream there? You could travel around the entire globe by just streaming. And it looks pretty much the same as a physical experience. But that's what we have to do. We have to start thinking to ourselves of, cars are not your friend. Planes are not your friend. Trains are not your friend. Buses are not your friend. They're just things that take up space and slow you down. And keep you from realizing that the space in front of you is the most important space of all because you're in it. I have California agencies, so I guess I have to stay in California. And it's such a shame that I haven't been able to contact a single LA gay to at least be friends with and enlighten, but those the breaks. Hold on, smoothie break. If they only knew my talent. If they only knew me. But that's it. I'm just a nerd. I'm just a nerd who sees things as they really are. I got in a fight with someone recently because I'm an honest person. Go where you can make a difference, but don't forget to make a difference where you are. So, have I talked to the president? No. He has to take care of an entire country. And for the most part, presidents have just said California will be California. So maybe California is a different country by being a state that exercises its states' rights. I just wish that they would exercise their states' rights for important environmental issues. Change.org/clear LA smog is such an important petition, and I can never get a single person to sign it. It frustrates me. It frustrates me because it's perfect sense. It tells the diesel company, go on. You want to use petrol? You want to use unleaded? You want to use whatever you stick into your vehicle? Go ahead. Let the city itself clean that pollution for you. Don't have to worry about whether or not the cars maintained properly. It's the roads themselves. Let me build smart roads in California. And yes, I probably should be arguing this in City Hall instead of on YouTube, but the last time I showed up there, I was in full Miles Morales gear, and they didn't let me in, which is ridiculous. Like, I don't understand that. Smoothie break. And I guess that's why I love Marvel so much. Not just the costumes. It's the idea that there is something going on, but recognize you have power. Recognize you always have power. Recognize that with everything that's going on, you need to make some changes. You really do. Change.org/clear LA smog. It's a petition to change the roads, specifically the building materials. Porous hemp concrete with a nice little air tunnel. Raising the curbs. And having EPA checks of vehicles that ride on it. Also ticketing every single car that's in need of maintenance, but also offering maintenance recovery programs with state grants that say, hey, we understand you're struggling, but if you really have to use your car, let the state use its budget to say, hey, let's repair your car for you. These are things that should happen. This is how a government works. When you say there's a government shutdown, I say you don't understand how a government works. The government is you. So if the government shut down, what does that really mean? That means that you have to pick up the slack. So I can't let it go. Change.org/clear LA smog. And I'm not going to change the name of it because it's for California in general, but I just can't see a world where these people are so smart. They have movies here, they have musicians here, they have everything. Great food. But they'll gas all the people here to death. Like, what's wrong with you, California? Don't you care? Don't you care at all? I mean, it's true. If you're a rich person, you're supposed to go, ha 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 ha. Let them breathe smoke. But I'm just not that person who says that, young people or old people or pregnant people should have to breathe the air that's in California. I think they should deserve oxygen. I think they should deserve trees. I have people who signed my million tree planting initiative to replace the trees that you burned down in those California wildfires, which I still will never let go. I will never let go of that because you let 5 forest fires break out in your area, and then you set fire to San Diego, and we're not supposed to turn around and say, what are you doing to the temperatures here? What are you doing to the forests here? Why aren't you having enough forest rangers here? Why aren't you training people to go out into the forest and look for fire breaks or plant some? How can you have a show about firefighters in LA, but you're the one who's causing all these fires, California? It's a bit weird. Smoothie break. I mean, I'm definitely weird, but who sets fire to their own state? Change.org/clear LA smog. If you feel a conscience, maybe you sign that petition so I can change the roads, not just in California, but maybe worldwide. Because worldwide, we have to accept our new reality. And our new reality is we could save money, we can save lives if the majority of us just upgraded. And maybe not the government, but maybe as part of my Green Future Go corporation, I take it upon myself to start speaking to people and asking them, what do you need? What do you need to unplug you from the misery that this is costing you? You own a car, but you don't really own a car, you lease it. It is ridden upon the poorly maintained roads. Thank you, city and state. It has several bills for maintenance. And you just say to yourself, is there really no other way? And yeah, there is. Just get rid of a car. Now, that's a conversation that you have on a one-on-one basis. You don't just say, and now no one has a car, ha ha ha. No. You have a conversation with people one-on-one and say, for your lifestyle, for what you do you need a car? Before I came to a certain level of affluence, I had to say, well, no, I couldn't afford to go see Fantastic Four, and also I was protesting because You know, they're not doing enough for transgender people. They really aren't. And I still maintain that because it's not enough to do lip service. You have to physically recruit, pass laws, and say, no, you can't live in a country where transgender people are denied the bathroom in any place. And I know that that's a non sequitur, but I don't really think so. I think when gay and transgender people and lesbians and bisexuals get upset about the treatment of transgender people here, they have to remind themselves of, you're just not that much different. They'll discriminate against you too. They still discriminate against the entire spectrum of the LGBTQIA. So why do we pretend that this is just a transgender issue and not a fight for all of us? And maybe the thing to do is, just unplug from all these straight owned, straight managed businesses that do not do enough to say that it is unacceptable to discriminate against a person because of their gender identity or their sexual orientation. Yeah, there are laws against it, but that doesn't stop these privately owned businesses from saying, well, you know, it's our policy. It is your policy. And I do respect that. But I'm also offended. I'm very offended. And as someone who's offended, I will vote with my dollar. So I pulled out of a lot of these straight-owned agencies until it just became, that's just no longer an issue for me. And luckily, I am male presenting when I go about, but I'm still in the transgender category. I'm still non-binary. I'm still genderqueer. I can be discriminated against, even male presenting. I've been attacked for being transgender in public, which is why I had to just say, no, gotta grow that beard. So that's why I'm stuck with this fuzz, this lovely fuzz. I deserve better from this country, and if I'm not going to get it, I have to build the best one. The best one and the next one. Because America just does not represent me when it treats me like that. The transgender community. And it doesn't represent me when it doesn't care about environmental issues, where it says it's more important to get people plugged into the cycle of, you buy a car, the car breaks down, you buy the next car. You lease the next car, you take out a mortgage to pay for your car. What? You know, I'm watching Sons of Anarchy on Disney. I love that. I really do. So I'm watching Sons of Anarchy on Disney, and I'm listening to this family go through their problems, and it's such middle America problems of, you know, I got behind on the mortgage, I got behind on the car payments. They're gonna take the car. And maybe it's because I'm bourgeois. Maybe it's because, you know, I'm not that in touch with things. It took me out of it. It took me out of the fantasy of, oh, he had so many struggles, and that forced him into this dark dilemma of conscience. It took me out because I see a world where you just don't need cars anymore. Fast forward not even 100 years, 5 to 10 years, you will not need cars. Five to 10 years, you will not need cars. You can still have them, but you'll also say to yourself, why in the world are you getting into a vehicle where it's a roll of the dice? Anything can happen. Someone has a bad day, someone isn't paying attention, someone's drunk, someone's high. Who knows? Who cares? They're taking the car! Oh no! Just watching these two people who love each other fight over these. Fight over, oh, well, I didn't want to work at the Lumberyard. I'm sorry, I can't do an American accent to save my life. Nice actor, though. Really, really dreamy when he took his shirt off. The tattoos that were fake. But yet still, it looked up nice on him. Oh, wow. And his beard, majestic, majestic. But watching the two of them go back and forth over this issue, and I'm just saying, I like the show. I like the show, but why am I watching two white people argue over such pettiness? And it's true. It's, well, I mean, I have to pay for groceries for the kids. That's a lot of groceries for the kids. Are you sure you're even feeding them proper nutrition? What a lot of people don't understand is sometimes poor people eat better. Hold on, smoothie break. As much as they're having the dilemma, and I know it'd be terrible writing, but if you're struggling that badly, you should just struggle together as a family and figure it out. I know, terrible, terrible writing. It's not the same exact thing of, watching the Dark Descent as someone loses their soul, but I have change.org/save American farmers, a petition to revitalize the American agricultural system, and no one signs it. I keep donating to get advertisement for it through change.org. And finally, I just stopped because I said, I don't know what's wrong with my country. I don't know what's wrong. Because I talk about this issue. I know that those people are suffering. And it doesn't seem like I can do anything to help them. And that's sad. Because, I'm trying to throw money at the problem instead of just saying, I have the ability to physically go there and just take care of it myself. And so, I'll just do it that way. I don't need a petition, I really don't. I just need to leave and to help people. So that's what I'm gonna have to do. If nobody wants to sign my change.org/clear LA smog petition, I just have to make a permit, get it approved, and then build a better road and show you how it's done. That's all. My name is Ian Iliona. I am an environmentalist, a human rights activist, LGBTQIA icon, mutant superhero, proud owner of Mars Now Space Agency for California, and Green Future Go Corporation, a conservationist non-profit organization for the protection of mutants, werewolves, and vampires. I hope to see you on the next podcast.